actually threaten the press to not talk about that? Blake Lively has had a history of being with her co-stars. Maybe she was trying to hook up with Justin or use that, because it does seem to be something that she's done before.
Blake Lively is in full meltdown mode after being exposed for allegedly threatening the press to cover up her never-ending scandals. Her once perfect Hollywood image is already crumbling after the cheating drama with Ryan Reynolds. But now, the internet is digging into her past, ensuring that no secrets remain hidden.
It is hard when it's in the public eye and people have questions and they're seeing a fuzzy timeline.
In a desperate attempt to control the damage, she's only making things worse. At this point, even her PR team might be looking for an escape route.
Because I don't trust you, Blake. I do not trust you. You have lied too much. You have fudged truths. You are trying to hide so much information that you are like your character in a simple favor, and I can't unsee it.
Blake Lively's downward spiral is becoming impossible to ignore because every single attempt at damage control is backfiring. She is desperately trying to control the media narrative, but instead of shutting down the scandals, she's drawing even more attention to them. Now, the press is exposing exactly what she wanted to keep hidden.
It doesn't sound like it was really... It does sound like she's over-exaggerating.
Lawsuit involving Justin Baldoni has already turned into a complete disaster. However, what's even more humiliating is the fact that she is now allegedly threatening journalists to prevent them from reporting on the things she doesn't want the public to know.
Now you're complaining about privacy? Oh, this is such an important private matter. You were on Saturday Night Live letting your husband make a mockery of your whole thing. Oh, is there something that's going on? Yeah, there's something going on. And you shouldn't have been there.
For years, she built her career on the image of being Hollywood's golden girl, but that illusion is now falling apart. No amount of PR spin can fix what people are starting to see for themselves. The scandal surrounding her marriage to Ryan Reynolds is just one part of it. Once people realized that their perfect couple image was nothing but a carefully crafted lie, they started digging even deeper.
They met on Green Lantern, but during that phase of Green Lantern, which was, I guess, back in 2009, was when they were shooting this, or 2010, filming was March to August 2010, Ryan was married to Scarlett Johansson.
It turns out that the love story she sold to the public was full of holes. When she and Ryan got together, he was still married to Scarlett Johansson, and she was publicly dating her Gossip Girl co-star Penn Badgley.
He was with Scarlett Johansson, and Blake was in a long-term relationship with Gossip Girl, Penn Badgley, right, Kim?
Mm-hmm.
They always insisted their relationship began after they were both single, but old reports tell a different story. One journalist even claimed that Blake and Ryan secretly met in a New Orleans hotel room while he was still married. That story was reportedly ready to be published until their PR teams intervened and shut it down before it could cause any damage.
So there's two different narratives, but specifically what Ryan and Blake's narrative is, they both were not in relationships. When they did get together, it was after the filming of Green Lantern.
Now that those old stories are resurfacing, she is panicking. The more people dig into her past, the worse her entire narrative looks. This is no longer just about a lawsuit, a cheating scandal, or a failing marriage. It's about how she has allegedly manipulated the media for years to control her public image.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds hooked up when Ryan Reynolds was still married to ScarJo and holed up in a NOLA hotel room during the Green Lantern. Us Weekly had discovered this, and their beauty editor would tell us this at events and about how Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's team's threats squashed the story.
That's exactly why she is threatening the press. She knows that if one major outlet decides to publish the full story, it won't stop with Justin Baldoni. It will expose everything: the cover-ups, the PR strategies, the lies, and the way she has allegedly used Hollywood's media machine to shape her reality.
Is this possible?
Her biggest problem is that this is no longer the early 2000s. The days when celebrities could silence journalists with threats and PR moves are long gone. Social media has completely changed the game, and reporters are no longer afraid of being blacklisted because they know the public will support them.
Employees and agents that are all speaking with press outlets directly, trying to make sure there's good stories about their client, or blocking potential stories about their client.
The harder she fights to keep things buried, the more obvious it becomes that she has something to hide. At this point, it's not even a question of if the truth will come out. It's just a matter of who will be the first to expose it all.
Because of PR, and I think that's part of why this whole Justin Baldoni story is so fascinating. It's just because people are really getting a behind-the-scenes look at the reality of PR.
Someone who spent her career crafting an image of effortless charm, she is now coming across as desperate. This isn't just about one legal battle. The real problem is that people are finally looking beyond the polished PR stories and realizing that none of it was real to begin with. the marriage with Ryan Reynolds, the perfectly curated Hollywood power couple image, the carefully timed media appearances. It was all a game, and now the rules have changed.
She's clearly happier and moved on with Colin Jost here. But just odd now that it's all come around with Ryan showing up to her new husband's place of work to crack jokes about his current wife's SH allegations. You just can't make this stuff up.
Scarlett Johansson has clearly moved on and is happily married to Colin Jost. But now, Ryan Reynolds is showing up at her husband's workplace, Saturday Night Live, cracking jokes about his own wife's allegations. You can't make this stuff up. Ryan is out here joking on SNL as if his personal life isn't on fire. But the public isn't laughing. Instead of diffusing the situation, his little comedy bit made things worse because now people are wondering why he seems so comfortable making light of a scandal that is supposed to be destroying his wife's reputation.
Where she did specifically reflect on her relationship with Reynolds. And I mean, props to her for keeping it classy and keeping things private. You know, like, I think she did an incredible job with that, maneuvering this. This was such a big deal.
Blake Lively has spent years mastering the art of image control. But now, as the walls start closing in, she's taking it a step further, allegedly threatening the press outright. Hollywood PR cover-ups are nothing new, but what makes this different is the aggression behind it. She isn't just trying to steer the narrative anymore, she's trying to shut it down completely. In a city like New York, where journalists thrive on scandals and will sell their souls for a headline, that's an impossible fight to win.
If we really go through it, Blake Lively has had a history of being with her co-stars.
It's true.
That's what's being alleged.
It's becoming clear that Blake has a pattern that goes back long before Ryan Reynolds. Penn Badgley, her Gossip Girl co-star, was the first in a string of high-profile actors she was linked to.
Between, obviously, as we know, with Penn Badgley, Ryan Reynolds.
They started dating in 2007, just as Gossip Girl was taking off, and were conveniently photographed together just enough to fuel the media's obsession. But when their relationship ended in 2010, things got suspicious. Penn later admitted in an interview that the breakup was abrupt, and sources from the Gossip Girl set claimed Blake kept her distance from him immediately afterward, as if something had suddenly changed behind the scenes.
There was talk about Leonardo DiCaprio. Here's the sort of the dating histories go. Leonardo DiCaprio, the rumors were that Blake Lively was up for The Great Gatsby, and then hooked up with Leo, but then didn't ultimately get the part, and then didn't stay with Leo, is what the rumors are.
Then came Leonardo DiCaprio. In May 2011, barely months after splitting from Penn, Blake was suddenly photographed with DiCaprio on a yacht in Cannes. The timing was strange, especially because she was rumored to be in talks for The Great Gatsby. But after her brief, highly publicized romance with DiCaprio ended, the role went to Carey Mulligan instead. Was it just a coincidence? Or had she tried to leverage a relationship for career gain?
Was she with Ryan Gosling? That's, I guess she wasn't in the movie with him.
Spotted on a few dates.
Allegedly. I mean, who wouldn't want to go on a few dates with him? Penn, but yeah, and then this, yes, they were in Sister of the Traveling Pants.
Next, she was linked to Ryan Gosling. Again, the timing was questionable. In October 2010, while still filming Green Lantern, she was spotted on multiple outings with Gosling. Paparazzi captured them at Disneyland, and sources described them as flirty. But by December 2010, she was suddenly linked to Ryan Reynolds instead. Once again, a supposed romance with one co-star fizzled out just as she set her sights on a bigger name.
So there's multiple people here that she seemingly does. And I'm not throwing shade, it isn't my business. It sets a potential precedent that, yeah. And it's why a lot of us during the Sit Ends With Us story, like, maybe she was trying to hook up with Justin or use that, because it does seem to be something that she's done before.
Then came the relationship that changed everything, Ryan Reynolds. The way their PR teams rewrote history was almost impressive. When Ryan and Blake officially debuted as a couple in October, their story was carefully crafted. Two friends reconnecting after Green Lantern, falling in love on a double date with other people, and getting married a year later. But insiders knew better. Journalists had already caught wind of their secret hotel rendezvous in New Orleans, which their PR teams reportedly worked hard to cover up.
A Reddit thread from a Colleen Hoover fan group that was written 6 months ago is going viral today because in it, an insider who spoke to somebody who worked on the movie predicted a lot of the stuff that ended up happening.
Now, with the Justin Baldoni lawsuit shedding light on how Blake allegedly operates behind closed doors, people are questioning if she tried to play the same game again.
A lot of the stuff that this person predicted came true because it was written so long ago. So what does that mean? Was this part of Justin's smear campaign where someone was trying to put some stuff out there? Or was this someone who actually worked on the film because some of this stuff seems to imply, yeah, they clearly knew what they were talking
A
about.
leaked Reddit post from August 2024 predicted the entire scandal months before it exploded. According to sources, Blake Lively allegedly used sexual harassment allegations as a power move to take control of It Ends With Us, forcing Sony to remove Justin Badoni from the project. However, inconsistencies in her claims and Sony's silence have only fueled suspicions that this was a strategic ploy rather than a legitimate complaint.
Blake wanted to do her version of the movie as a result, but Sony said no. Now, that's an interesting new one because I didn't know Justin didn't like his first editor, so they're both sort of competing. This is something I've heard in multiple other sources and people, that neither of them are really good at editing this movie, it turns out.